orgasm.
Did you know that women who have enjoyable intercourse, including orgasms about 3 times a week, live about 5 years longer than women who don't? You can't do many things to release oxytocin besides having orgasms. And there's some other endorphins that I can't name that are only released when you are having orgasms.
If we don't have our orgasm, we really are not just depriving ourselves from a feeling, but we're doing some harm to our bodies.
Yes, God made sex as a gift for men and women, not just one or the other. Mm-hmm.
Okay, for a woman to not only keep giving her body away, but have had children after child after child, and go through all of that and never experience an orgasm, I think it's emotionally damaging. Who am I as the woman? I am radical, relentless, and real because I am on a mission to heal the souls of God's people. I am a spiritual leader, a life coach, and an author. But most of all, I am a warrior fighting for my legacy. I face so many challenges, shares of betrayal, rejection, abandonment, all that left me wounded mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. Yes, life left me broke, busted, and disgusted. But despite all those odds, divorces, emotional damage, as well as despair, I did the work to heal my soul so that I may birth forth miracles and live prosperously. I am not new here. I grew here, and now is your time to grow. I am Dr. Dunamis D, and I am here to guide you on your journey of healing and transformation. Well, you all, here we are for another episode of the Healing for My Soul podcast. Man, we have been really talking about sexual healing for the woman in you, and there's so many subtopics that come with this. But today, I am here with Dr. Mia once again. I might not even let her go home, y'all, because she is a wealth of information, passionate about what she does, particularly as an OB-GYN. But at the end of the day, she is really in tune. Dr. Mia, you are really in tune with the woman in you.
Yes, I am.
And you love it, don't you?
Yes, I love it. I love it.
You love it. So we're going to talk about I need my orgasm.
Yes, we need our orgasm.
Why do we need our orgasm?
Did you know that women who have enjoyable intercourse, including orgasms about 3 times a week, live about 5 years longer than women who don't?
Oh, you need your orgasms.
Yes, you need your orgasms for your immune system. You need them for your heart health. You need them for your mental clarity, because when you have orgasms, you release oxytocin. And what happened, you can't do many things to release oxytocin besides having orgasms. And there's some other endorphins that I can't name that are only released when you are having orgasms.
So when we don't have our orgasm, we really are not just depriving ourselves from a feeling, but we're doing some harm to our bodies.
Yes,
Did I say that right?
Yes, and you know how people used to say, she would act better if she would just get her some.
Right.
Or she got an attitude because she ain't had none.
Right.
That is really true. Like, orgasms and regular sexual enjoyment improve your overall mood, your energy, your focus.
And not just need her some, but need a release.
A release.
We need a release. I'm going to be honest with you. Now, look, I know who I am as a woman and as I serve as a pastor, but I tell some women in there, 60, 70 years old, you need to go get you some dick.
Right. And if you can't, you better get you a toy, because you can still release with a toy. You can still have orgasms with a toy. You can have orgasms with your hand.
I like the real thing, though.
I like the real thing, but if you can't get to the real thing, you should still be having orgasms.
You should still be having orgasm. So what is an orgasm? Come on, what is an orgasm?
The orgasm is the climax. And so what happens for a lot of women when we have orgasms is you get uncontrollable contractions. It usually starts inside. Some people can feel it in the cervix. The uterus can contract. The vagina can contract. The muscles contract when you hit that real climax. And sometimes it can extend past there. Women can see stars, you know, they can get a headache from an orgasm.
Cramps.
Cramps. Everything can curl up, everything contracts. So it's really a big muscle contraction that you can't really control or stop. I mean, you know, you can do some mind stuff to hold off on an orgasm, but the actual orgasm is that contraction of everything and the release of oxytocin.
I just had a thought while you explained this. I was like, do you know what worship services would be like if we just had some orgasms? We would have to prick and pray. Come on and praise God. Come on.
Everybody be praising God.
Ooh, I remember I had an orgasm. Oh, I was with this guy. I went to church. I said, hallelujah. Oh, my
That's
God.
what we say too. We like, thank you,
Thank
Jesus.
you, Jesus.
We serve a good God.
A mighty God.
You can only get this feeling from a good God.
I didn't even know his name. No, I'm just...
But I don't even remember his name. But it was a good orgasm. It was a good orgasm.
It was a good orgasm, you know what I'm saying? Because it released so much.
That's
you know
right.
what I'm saying?
That's right.
And I felt like I was just lighter, particularly because it's not healthy to hold these things in.
That's not. It's not.
It's definitely not healthy. I got so much that I want to talk to you about because so many women don't.
So many women don't. And so many women don't and don't even necessarily know that they don't.
Elaborate.
So some women feel like if you ask the average woman, have they had an orgasm? Or they'll say, how do you know if you had an orgasm? Usually if somebody says that, they probably haven't had an orgasm.
Correct.
Because, you know, you just have to experience it to know exactly what it is. But I would go as far to say that it's 75 to 80% of women that don't have regular orgasms, but it's still a large percentage of women who never had orgasms. Like I have 70-some-year-old women who have lived this long and have never had an orgasm.
But how is that possible, Doc?
Well, nobody teaches us to explore. Boys are taught that it's okay for them to explore, and they learn how to have orgasms at an early age because they are left to their own privacy when their hormones start.
Okay.
You know, so people say, well, you know, I don't go in my son's room, I knock on the door first.
Right, because they're getting off.
Because they're getting off.
Yeah.
And women should really be doing the same thing. But girls are taught against that. We're taught to suppress that. That's being fast. That's not something you're supposed to do. And I saw it even working at the daycare. The little boys who would go to sleep, it was the little boys that would go to sleep and they would masturbate. But if a girl was doing that, the first thing somebody would think is that somebody had bothered her or touched her. Because even though it's a natural thing for girls to touch themselves, but we're taught against it. Because I remember the first time that my mama caught me touching myself and her response to it, which let me know that this is not something that you're supposed to do.
And I just did it and nobody never knew. I was gonna find my way. You see what I'm saying?
Right, and I think I did it in total innocence because I can remember she went to the kitchen, you know, you had to go to the kitchen to answer the phone and she was putting lotion on me and I was naked, but it was a little teddy bear right by me. And as a kid, I must have rolled over and hit it a certain way and felt something I liked and then I just kept doing it. And by the time she came in the room, she was like, no! You know what I mean?
Right in the middle.
Yeah, so I'm like, I guess I just gotta sleep and masturbate for the rest of my life because apparently this is wrong, but it feels so right. So how could it really be this wrong? You know what I mean?
It feels so good to be so wrong.
Right, yeah, exactly. So I just had my little teddy bear in the room with a red rose. It was a brown teddy bear, I remember, or whatever. Because it's natural.
Real talk. If y'all can concur, say, I'm with you. We got to set ourselves free.
That's
right. We got to set ourselves
free. Sexually. And life will be so much better.
Hey, so are you liking this episode? Matter of fact, are you loving this episode? If so, then we want you to tell us. I need you to like this episode right now. I need you to drop a comment and tell us what you are enjoying about this episode. But most importantly, I need you to subscribe to the YouTube channel, okay? Do not miss a beat of what's happening in the Healing for My Soul podcast. So you know what to do. Like so we know that you love it. Comment down below and tell us what you love about it. And then subscribe so you're never missing the episode that you truly cannot live without. Now, let's get back to your episode.
Because he made it. Okay,
he made it.
Let's go back to the fact that they have never. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Emotional. This is my lane, okay? For a woman to not only keep giving her body away, but have had children after child after child, and go through all of that and never experience an orgasm, I think it's emotionally damaging.
Yeah, I do too.
Okay.
And I think that it does negatively affect women, their confidence, and all of those things.
And their self-esteem.
And their self-esteem. Because usually, if you talk to a woman who's never had an orgasm, it's not something that she's told anybody else. It just may come up with me because I'm a physician and
Correct.
I'm asking, "Are you having regular orgasms?" And that's a question that really should be asked if you are addressing menopause or sexual function, which all gynecologists should.
Where does the man come into play with that? Men gonna get, I ain't known a damn man who ain't got his.
So it's still different for men too. So men don't always finish, especially as they get older. So as they get older, they may not always have an orgasm. They may enjoy, they may reach some climax, but they may not finish. So men can start to have that problem as they get older. And the reason a lot of women who may have had orgasms in the past and they stop, it's all with blood flow. So as you age and mature, and if you get diabetes, if you get high blood pressure, if you have heart disease, that decreases the blood flow to the area. And with decreased blood flow, then that's going to decrease sensitivity. That's going to decrease lubrication. For men, it's going to decrease erections. It's going to make for softer erections. It's going to make it appear that the penis is even getting smaller if you're not having regular erections. So for women, when you have that vaginal dryness, you start to notice that it's real hard to have an orgasm at first. You know, you can still have them, but you have to work really, really hard and do a bunch of extra stuff. And then you start to...
sometimes that gets frustrating.
That gets very frustrating.
That's very frustrating.
That gets very frustrating.
Like, just forget it.
And then the dryness, and it becomes uncomfortable. And you know, you can't go round for round without adding a lubricant. But women who treat their vaginal tissue, and nobody tells us that, like all of these old women with urinary tract infections that go in the hospital, if they were treating their vaginal tissue, they would not be having urinary tract infections.
You're gonna make everybody come to Alabama and
if you just treat your vaginal tissue, you can have better orgasms. Because if you don't have vaginal estrogen to lubricate the tissue and allow you to release from the different glands the lubrication that you need to enjoy intercourse, then you can't have orgasms. Then you're gonna have UTIs. Then you're gonna start peeing on yourself when you cough and sneeze. Then you're gonna have to go to the bathroom all the time. And you're gonna start leaking trying to get to the bathroom. And all of that is based on the lack of hormones in the vaginal tissue. And all you simply need to do is put an insert in that your doctor prescribes to you twice a week at night to prevent the aging of the vaginal tissue, just like we do with our face.
So it's a preventive measure.
It's a preventive measure.
It's a preventive measure.
And it's a treatment for most people because most people didn't know to start treating it at 40. So now that you're in menopause, if you are in menopause, you should be putting something in vaginally to treat your tissue regularly to maintain healthy sexual function.
So I'm sure, you know, being an OB/GYN, you are amongst other doctors. Does other races talk about this more so in their race and ethnicity? So why we don't?
Because we're in the black church. Do they talk about sex in the black church?
No, they don't.
Do they say it's good for you to have great sex with your husband as a woman in the black church?
But the preacher show.
But they tell the preacher, but it's okay for the men, but they don't talk about it for the women.
Because we don't have that liberty. But I'm coming to change that.
Right, we're changing all of that.
We're changing all that.
Because God made sex as a gift for men and women, not just one or the other.
And we got to know how to have our own pleasure.
That's right.
So talk about this vaginal tissue again. How do we know where it is? How do we know how to?
So if you're having dryness and if you're having any of those symptoms, if it's hard for you to get arousal, you know, because usually when you're young, if you think about sex, your panties get wet. As you get older, your panties don't get wet very often if you're not treating your vaginal tissue. And for arousal as you age too, you need more arousal techniques. You know what I mean? So it used to be that you'd be ready to go and have sex in your 20s with a kiss. You already lubricated. But once you in your 40s and 50s, you don't make that kind of lubrication naturally. So it requires you to put either a vaginal estrogen, vaginal DHEA. Those are prescriptions that you have to get from your doctor. But there is one that you can get online, the vaginal hyaluronic acid. And all of those things do the same thing. They lubricate the tissue. They keep it from feeling loose because as the tissue ages, it thins. So women will say that they feel loose and they don't feel as tight as they used to be. They feel the dry dryness, and then they'll even notice when they wipe that there's dryness. And the reason they get more urinary tract infections is because the tissue is so thin around that urethra that it's easy for bacteria to get there and cause urinary tract infections.
So a lot of this occurs because we have neglected ourselves.
We have neglected our vaginal tissue because nobody ever taught us that you got to do your vagina like you do your face. When we turn 40, we start using hyaluronic acid, retinol. We go to the dermatologist. You know, we get our facials. That's what I do for my vagina.
Correct.
I treat it with hyaluronic acid, vaginal estrogen. I get my O shot every year to year and a half. I mean, I have to work hard to have great orgasms all the time. But the good news is that we have options to do that now, and that we didn't know about before. You know, so you can maintain healthy, sexual, orgasmic, lubricated, pink, pretty, fluffy tissue. You just got to work for it the same way we do with our faces as we age.
I guess I'm just thinking about what you're saying, but I'm also thinking about myself. And this is why I believe sexual healing for the woman in you, because as I could just think about my husband's penis and I get wet.
And that's good, but you are definitely outside of the norm. But you were probably always a highly sexual person.
Yeah. But even the fact of knowing what I have, who he is, and things like that.
Right.
It just stimulates.
Yeah, but you're really in tune with your body and your sexuality.
I'm very much in tune.
Yeah,
with it.
and most women are not.
But why not?
Because nobody ever taught them to be.
Nobody never taught me.
Yeah, but you are a naturally highly sexual person. I wasn't, so I had to learn. I had to go on my own quest. So I read books. I don't like to do a lot of porn, you know, though. I think that porn should not be the go-to, but for some people to kind of understand and learn about their bodies, they don't know another option. But it shouldn't be something that's done all the time because it's not realistic.
I can be my own porn. Get a mirror.
Yeah, that's right.
Put it in the ceiling.
That's right. But I had to learn because I just wasn't that naturally highly sexual. And I became more sexual when I got my testosterone pellets and I got my testosterone back to my normal levels. And then I was like, oh, I am a very sexual being. But it wasn't that I wasn't sexual. It was that my hormones had declined so much that I couldn't enjoy, desire, have the orgasms that I once had because it was gone.
One of my goals for even here at Dunamis Woman, and the reason why I'm doing this podcast, Sexual Healing for the Woman, and you wrote the book, and I promise you we're gonna do something more. Y'all stay tuned and get ready. Stay connected. That's what I'm gonna say. But I really want us to be free in this area.
Me too, and I want it to be normal conversation.
I particularly from the faith industry, from the church, and I come to get us off this religious plantation. You know what I'm saying? That has messed up our mind, but also has deprived us sexually.
That's right.
But at the end of the day, we're being used as sex slaves. We're being used as doormats. You see what I'm saying? Give me what I want, and you're just not attended to.
Right.
You're not even seen. You're not even. I believe it takes some time for a man. I mean, where they will even wait to come and let you have your orgasm first, or we come together.
That's right.
That's a beautiful thing.
Right. Especially, and that can happen when you're communicating during the act of intercourse, before and after too. So we have to start communicating with our partners, and a lot of women got to quit pretending. Now, a lot of the women that say they don't have orgasms, they pretend with their partner that they're having an orgasm, and that is so unfair.
That is.
So you can't be mad at your partner for not pleasing you if you're telling them that they pleasing you and they're not.
That's that imposter syndrome.
Yes,
you know what I mean?
and you know, and nothing has happened for real. You just faking like you had an orgasm to make him feel better about himself. But the whole time you're not even getting what you need.
Yeah, you're not getting what you need. You know, so I had one lady. I have a lot of questions for you.
Let's go.
Because they want to know some stuff in here, and you just done stirred up some stuff already. So one lady was like, "Does she have to have an orgasm? Does she have to be mentally present as well as physically present?" Elaborate on that.
I think so. So one book that I read called The Orgasm Prescription, it really does talk about the mental part of the orgasm, not just the physical part. So I do think that it's a mental part of the orgasm. I think it's an emotional part of the orgasm, and I think it's a physical part of the orgasm. And I don't think you have to have all three, but I think when you have all three in order, you're going to have stronger orgasms, and you're going to be more likely to have vaginal orgasms, because a lot of women can have clitoral orgasms without a problem. problem. So that's just stimulation of the clitoris. You can do that when you wake up in the morning. But vaginal
How do you
orgasms.
have a clitoris orgasm just by stimulating it? You're not releasing anything, are you?
Yeah, if you make
just let
yourself,
it
if
wet,
you feel good
you feel
enough,
good enough, okay.
that it's, you know, enjoyment, like oral sex. You can have orgasms just from having oral sex alone with no penetration.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah,
so the
yeah.
same thing you
Same
can do
thing,
if you got your organic coconut oil and you know how to work your, you know what I mean, which you should know how to work your own, you know how to have your own
But
orgasm.
a lot of women don't experience an orgasm with a penis inside of them.
Right, so that's the vaginal orgasm. So that's what I think requires the whole healthy wellness part of it, the hormonal part of it, and then the structural part of it.
Hey, you all, you are here and you have been watching this podcast, and not only are you on a journey for your healing, but let me let you know, you have started a movement in your life because you joined me on this Healing for My Soul movement. So guess what I want you to do? I want you to stay connected. I want you to be a part of our Healing for My Soul movement. Join the Facebook group right there. I know you on Facebook. So go in there, join that private group. We have more discussions about healing. We recap these episodes. You're going to hear the heart of other women just like you who's saying, I am on this journey and I am on a move and I cannot turn back. I look to see you there. Hey, I'm Pastor D.
Correct.
Meaning, you know, you've been treating the tissue is healthy and lubricated and still orgasmic.
Right. Or you got to sometimes get on top. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, you have to change positions.
You may have to change positions, know how to work it for you. I think it still comes to the core and the being of what I want and what I need for me.
Right.
And not misusing a person, but knowing that I'm connected because I want it for myself.
Because I want to please you, but I want to please
Myself
me too. And you should want to please me as much as you want to please yourself.
And it's nothing wrong with communicating
That's
that.
right. I'm not being pleased. And it's a
Right,
certain way
right,
you can say
right.
it, and you can say it with love. I actually talked about this on my podcast the other day with a sex therapist. And that's what she said. She said, you know, the way you say it is you don't point the finger at the person, but you talk about how you feel and not make them responsible for that. But what can we do to work together? Because what we've been doing is no longer working for me. But what is it that we can do together to make sure that I can experience the orgasms I used to experience? You know what I mean?
So talk about the G-spot.
The G-spot. So the G-spot is really right the first 1/3 of the vagina. So if you think about it, if you lay back on your back and you put your knees up and you put just your middle finger in and curl it up, your G-spot is right in that area. And what you can do is kind of go in as far as you can and then slowly pull back, press. If you don't feel anything there, press, and use some organic coconut oil. So make sure you lubricate it before you do it. And then what's gonna happen is you're gonna press a spongy kind of area and you're gonna notice more of a sensation when you do that, and you're gonna know that that's your G-spot.
And what does the G-spot do?
It helps you with your vaginal
With your
orgasms.
vaginal orgasm. I really didn't take the time to explore our own bodies.
We don't.
We don't take the time to explore it. So let's talk about more of the vaginal dryness.
The vaginal dryness, yes.
Yeah.
So it is, okay, so let's just talk a little bit too about just vaginal health.
Okay.
So first of all, no douching, none of the great little feminine washes y'all using. You don't need none of that. A lot of those.
Just selling us some products.
Selling y'all some products to make y'all come pay me a copay for that bacteria vaginosis that you got and your yeast infections. So I know when I sit down and do a vaginal exam on a woman, if you in my office and I say, what kind of soap you use, it's because you're using the wrong soap. It's a distinct odor that happens when you're not using the right soap. And the right soap, I always hate to say it because they need to pay me. Dove, White Bar Sensitive, Bar, Dove, White Bar Sensitive in the white and green box, or the original in the white and blue box. That's what you can use on your vagina to ensure that your pH is remaining stable, and you're not gonna have to come see me to get a prescription, because you do have to come in for a visit to get a prescription to treat bacteria vaginosis.
So I use shea butter soap.
Okay.
Is that healthy?
I use shea butter soap, just not on my vagina.
For real? So Dove is really.
Dove is the thing to keep your vagina.
They should pay you
So
for
what? Yeah, they need to pay me. But so what I tell my women is, when you clean, you just have a washcloth that you use specifically for your Dove white bar soap. You clean really good with that 2 or 3 times, get in those crevices, rinse off good, tuck it there, and then you can use all your other smell good stuff, and that'll make sure that nothing else gets in that area.
Perfume stuff.
That's what causes bacteria vaginosis, which causes that funny, fishy odor. That's why women think they need to do it, just because their pH is off. They got bacteria vaginosis. And the other thing is, with vaginal dryness, it can act just like bacteria vaginosis. We call it postmenopausal atrophic vaginitis, which is basically the lack of hormones in the vaginal tissue, and that can cause a distinct odor, an abnormal discharge, irritation, pain, and the vaginal dryness associated with
I'm so glad I'm a woman and
menopause. I know, girl. I be saying the same
I'm like,
thing.
oh, geez, I wouldn't be going down on nothing.
Yeah, but if you use your Dove white bar soap.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah.
That is. But seriously, when I say, or when the word says, we were fearfully and wonderfully made.
We were
really fearfully and wonderfully made. And I believe it's our responsibility to know our body.
That's right. And you got to start all over, because there's so many areas on your body that increase arousal and increase enjoyment. So that's why it's important when you are having sex that it's not just the penetration. But that you add all the other stuff with it, because it may be behind your ear. But those are fun ways to explore and figure out how to have an orgasm if you haven't. To get a Kama Sutra book and do a new position every day or every time you have sex if it's not every day. You know what I mean? But try different positions. And then to explore each other, like let your partner just lay down and then try different things. You know, you can get the little floggers and different sensations. Yeah, and explore so you can figure out what you really like and what really turns you on, and do it without any penetration, and then get to the point of the addition of the penetration.
Dr. B, by the time we go to work.
And they said they ain't got time for that, don't they? But if they had their hormones balanced and slept good at night, they wouldn't be too tired to do it. The problem is
we don't have no good sleep.
Yeah, I ain't got no good sleep.
I need some good sleep.
Yeah, and when you in perimenopause and menopause, you not gonna sleep well.
I'm coming to you to get that good
and
sleep.
you're gonna have night sweats. And how you gonna sleep good with night sweats?
Yeah.
And you freezing your whole husband out, and he can't sleep because he need on a winter coat. Right. He need on a winter coat because you too hot.
He had a fan on too. I have fan over here. He got a fan over there.
Because he in the andropause.
He gets it. I'm telling you, I'm finna go. I'm telling you, prolapse bladders.
Yes, so that's the whole thing with the aging vagina. With the aging vagina, the dryness, the thinning. So then what happens is the vaginal tissue weakens, and so that vaginal tissue that's over the bladder can fall down. That vaginal tissue on the bottom, that's over the rectum can start to fall down. The whole uterus and cervix can start to fall down with age. So with gravity and the change in the vaginal tissue, not treating the tissue to keep it healthy and strong, you can easily get prolapse. Now, can you still have great sex and orgasms with prolapse? Absolutely, you can. But you can have that repaired. And for prevention, if y'all start treating that vaginal tissue at 40 before you had a problem, you'll decrease the likelihood of prolapse.
But we're 50, 60 now.
Yeah, so now you just you need to do 2 weeks straight every night for 2 weeks, and then go to your 2 to 3 times a week until you get your tissue exactly where you want it.
Deposit.
And that's the suppository.
The depository. Okay, so how does the prolapse? How do you maintain your sensuality?
Yes, so your sensuality. So you're treating the vaginal tissue, but also remember like Pilates, pelvic floor exercises, being able to control the muscle, being able to control the tightening. All of those things are going to help with your sexual function. So like wellness really does make the woman who's having great sex most likely lives a healthy lifestyle.
And that's a muscle.
That's a muscle.
That's a muscle.
So
what they call it? I used to just sit there and do the
Kegel exercises. And they even have Kegel balls now, so that you can train it to, do all the things.
But see, we just think it's something we down there and urinate out of. You know what I mean? And it's a very, very precious,
complex. Yeah,
it's a commodity.
precious,
I'm so
yes.
glad I'm a woman.
Me too. I'm so glad I have a vagina
Right, me too.
that I know how to take care of, so we can
I
continue.
think the penis can be boring.
Yeah, it can. It doesn't do all the things that the vagina does.
So you all be glad that you're a woman, okay? Be glad that you're a woman. So let's talk about the suppository versus the patch.
Hey, I know you're enjoying watching this episode from your home and maybe from your car. Maybe you're at work watching this, but let me tell you the power of going from online to being in the room. I want to invite you to our Healing from My Soul Live 2-day event where women all across the globe come together to experience a healing in the depths of their soul. It is literally mind-blowing. It is so rejuvenating, and it is sisterhood that happens in the room. So get your ticket, grab your friends, grab your legacy, grab your daughters, and be in that room this year, and we cannot wait to see you and the power that's going to transform through you as the woman and through your legacy.
Okay, so hormone replacement therapy. So the patch is more of hormone replacement therapy. The suppositories are not, even if I give you vaginal estrogen, it's not increasing your systemic estrogen to help with hot flashes. It's just working topically on the vaginal tissue. So those suppositories are dosed so that it's not increasing your systemic levels, just working on the vaginal tissue.
Okay.
If you don't feel comfortable doing estrogen, you still can do the vaginal DHEA or the hyaluronic acid.
Okay.
The patch is where you're talking about changing the systemic estrogen. So adding estrogen back into your system. That can be done with a patch, that can be done with a cream, that can be done with a peel, that can be done with a pellet, that can be done with a shot for some people, but the way that I like estrogen to be replaced is with plant-based bioidentical hormone therapy for estrogen and testosterone, which comes in a cream form and a pellet form. The cream's a little bit more generic. The people who don't want to invest in a pellet or may not be able to afford the pellet can definitely use the creams and still get a good benefit if they can be consistent with use.
So all of this that you're explaining impacts us having an orgasm.
Impacts us having an orgasm.
Wow.
Impacts us having an orgasm, impacts us having healthy vaginal tissue, impacts us being able to focus and remember, impacts our heart health. You know, women who replace their testosterone and their estrogen have a decreased risk of breast cancer, heart disease, dementia, and bone loss.
Are you serious?
Yes, testosterone decreases the risk of breast cancer and breast cancer recurrence. Estrogen, I'm gonna do your myths now.
Okay.
Estrogen does not increase the risk of breast cancer. Even in that study where they took all of those women off of hormones because they were using the synthetic hormones made from horse urine. And a lot of women in that study had a blood clot, breast cancer, heart disease, or stroke.
But increasing our testosterone is what. But see, we think that testosterone is just limited to men.
That's what we've always thought.
But all of us, men have estrogen and testosterone, and we have the same.
Yes.
But we just say
they
that
just got 10 times more than us.
Correct.
So, you know, whereas I get a woman's testosterone up to anywhere around 300, 250 to 400, depending on the woman. For men, theirs gets up to between 1,100 and 1,300 to be optimal when they're doing hormone replacement.
But the older you get,
you stop producing it.
You stop producing it. So that's where the pellet comes in.
That's
or whatever.
where the pellet, yep.
You know, eating healthy costs.
It does. Being healthy costs.
Being healthy costs.
Preventing disease costs a lot of money.
And I believe that we have to really see our value.
Yes.
Because we pay for what we really want.
Right, and guess what else costs?
What?
Sickness.
Sickness costs.
It costs way more than wellness costs.
Way more.
Yeah, so you can invest now for prevention.
Yes.
Or you can wait until you get all of the diseases and pay all your co-pays and pay for all that expensive medicine that's going to cause another problem.
Correct. Because you come out least expensive taking care of yourself
from the beginning.
Than the beginning.
Yeah.
You know, and when you go to the doctor, they're gonna give you this, they're gonna give you that, they're gonna give you that, and you're not really treating yourself or tending to yourself.
No, they treat symptoms. I treat root cause medicine. When you have hot flashes, night sweats, problems with sleep, joint pain, you have a low testosterone. So why would I go give you a medication to help you with your diet, a medication to help you sleep, a medication to help you with your depression, when all I need to give you is testosterone replacement, and that's gonna fix all the symptoms, because that's the real problem.
I'm about to be your manager. I'm gonna put you all out there.
Come
you
on,
know
girl,
what I'm saying?
let's go.
You need to come you treating them women in Alabama like I don't know
Right,
what, but
and it's stuff that we didn't know, and I've learned all this on my own. I wasn't taught this.
That's because
in
you're
med
empathic
school.
about it.
Right.
The woman is,
Yes.
not the doctor.
But they don't teach doctors hormone therapy. We studied hormone therapy for probably 1 or 2 days out of my 4-year residency in OBGYN.
So you decided I want to improve because I believe you firmly have a message for women.
Right, and I started having patients with problems. Everybody had the same problem: fatigue, not sleeping, weight gain, decreased sex drive.
Yeah.
So I'm
yeah.
like, what they taught me to
Yeah,
use isn't
yeah.
working. So that's when I went on, did my own research and realized that it's the testosterone.
It's the testosterone.
Nobody ever talked about the testosterone for women.
No.
They only talked
It's
about
the
estrogen and progesterone.
Yeah.
But women who can't take estrogen, because there are contraindications. Somebody who's had a blood clot in their legs or lungs can't take estrogen. Somebody who's had a stroke, significant heart disease, or breast cancer, they should not take estrogen. But everybody can safely take testosterone when dosed appropriately by a hormone specialist.
Wow, you all, I need my orgasm. It's not a nasty thing.
It's not.
It's not a nasty thing.
It's a gift.
It's a gift. It's a beautiful thing. And we have to be more attentive to ourselves. Sexual healing for the woman in you is saying, I need to be attentive. Even the Word of God says, and this is what I'm thinking about it from so many angles, how the body is the temple of the Holy Spirit. How can he be the temple when he made the vagina? He made it so intricately. You know what I'm saying? I think I wrote in my book, it was my ebook, Value in the Vagina. And I did the comparison spiritually, how if you really look at it, our ear kind of looks like the vagina. The ear right here. You see what I'm saying? But when this is clogged up, it clogs this up. You understand what I'm saying? Spiritually, I need to have an ear to hear, but if I'm not having orgasms, I'm sexually deprived, how the hell am I hearing the Holy Spirit?
Right, because you isolated, yeah.
Especially about myself. Not about, ooh, say this or say that. I'm talking about me.
Yes.
He loves me.
That's right.
He wants to speak to me. He's concerned about me. Not just for me to go out here and prophesy and say this or whatever, and I'm about as fat, funky, and horny as I don't know what, and never experienced an orgasm.
That's right.
All of it is connected.
It's all connected.
Your ear is connected to your vagina, your mind, your hands. Everything is connected. We cannot separate our anatomy, but we got to know how to tend to it.
That's right.
Dr. Mia, I thank you.
I thank you for having me.
You're a wealth of knowledge and a wealth of wisdom and information in what you do, and I believe this is your God-given gift.
I agree. I am definitely living my purpose.
Do you go and speak to churches? And
I
things
do. I speak at churches. I speak everywhere.
You do? Well, you all, this is Dr. Mia. Tell them once again, remind them how they can get a copy of your book.
So go to Mibella Wellness, M-I-B as in boy, E-L-L-A, wellness.com. Everlasting Intimacy, Till Death Do Us Part is the book, and then a whole lot of other information on there. And y'all can just come visit me. I have patients that fly in to see me quarterly to get their pellets. That's right. And you got to like a less than 2-hour drive, so you ain't got no excuses.
And you need to come on over here in Georgia too.
Right.
Yeah. So you all, if you all want to hear more from Dr. Mia as well as myself, and we put together more, just say, bring her back, bring her back, bring her back. Dunamis woman, all of you all, I am here because we got to really, really know who we are. Sexual healing for the woman in you means everything to me, and I pray it means everything to you. Why? Because we are important to him, and the things that concern us, guess what? It concerns him. I'll see you next time.